Hola, bienvenidos a un episodio más de Happiness and Purpose. Today I'm here with Martha. Martha, okay, let me say something before I introduce you properly. Martha is my yoga teacher, and I think it was due to do this podcast with her because I called her and I said, hey, you're like the most feminine person that I know, and for Women's Day, I want you on my podcast. So thank you so much for being here and for accepting this interview.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you
for
opening the space. Thank you.
Yeah. I loved the idea of talking to you about what is to being feminine, what is to live in the energy and show up, like you always say, like show up to the world as a woman. So to start off, I want you to tell the audience, like, who are you? Who is Martha, and how do you find the femininity or the feminine energy in you?
Well, first I have to tell you, audience, that you sent me the questions and you said, I'm going to ask you who is Martha, and I had a whole day of reflection on that. I thought, okay, it's not what I like to do. It's not what I'm working as. It's who am I? So in paper, well, I am a teacher, right? I've been teaching for 10 years. Then in paper, I am a Hatha and Kundalini yoga instructor. I have a breath and a meditation certification. I did my meditation with an institute in India, and I did my breath with an institute in Spain. And I also did a certification with a Wild Woman project to lead circle, to what is it to do a restorative circle for women. But that's on paper. That's not who I am. And I went back and I said, who am I? And I said, I think I know who I am. I am a very sensitive child. I'm a very sensitive child. I am a very quiet child, besides what other people might think.
Yeah, you do not look shy at all.
I'm a very quiet, sensitive, very intuitive.
Yeah.
And most of all, very curious. So I thought of me as a girl, looking myself through the lens of who is that girl. I would say, if you describe Martha, if you were describing a little girl, she's curious. She loves learning. She's highly sensitive, and she's shy and more on the quiet side. So this is who I am. I am right now. I'm a girl that grew up and has all these titles and has all this, but in the end, I'm still that shy, sensitive girl.
Do you? Because I learned this from Louise Hay, and I don't know if you ever do this, but do you have like a place for your inner Martha, like from your inner child? Like for me, it's like I call like my inner child Laurita. Uh-huh. So I usually, when I'm like in my head and when I'm like acting out in a way that I'm like, that's Laurita acting out and that's Laurita, and I talk to Laurita and I'm like, Laurita, chill. Do you ever talk to your inner child like that?
Recently, when I started doing the work, I started identifying when is this girl coming up? Yeah. Yes, when all my actions were driven by her. But that was recently. That's a very high stage to get to realize when your girl is in need or your girl is doing this. Yes. So what I learned, it's to mother that girl.
Exactly. That's and Louise Hay talks in a book that she suffered a lot and she was abused a lot when she was a child. Mm-hmm. She says like now she has her inner Louis in a tower, protected, and nobody gets there, and she goes and mother that girl whenever she's feeling some type of way or whenever that little girl is acting out. So that I learned that from her, and I feel like it works so much for me. So yeah.
I agree. I think I don't want to say I had a hardship, but my circumstances were not ideal, and I learned how to protect that girl. And it shows up when I'm leading circle, or I can talk. That I would say I can be surrounded with a lot of people, and in myself I'm very locked. That's why I feel like I can hold space for the people, everything, because I know how to differentiate.
You said,
And then I come back to me and I'll see, okay, let's talk. What happens here? How is this girl feeling after what she heard, what she saw, and this?
And you have a lot of like experiences, and especially with around women. Like you have, well, we forgot to say that, but you have a community of women.
Yes, it has been growing, and I'm very pleased and very excited.
And I'm super proud of you.
Yeah,
super proud of you. But how do you get into this feminine energy and fun? Because I know you were into yoga first. You are a mom, and you were like, touched by that nature, and you were privileged to be a mom, and to know that love that only we, mothers and women are capable of, like, holding. But how do you get into, okay, let me find my feminine power?
Yes, that is another very tough question. Because it's like saying, so first of all, I became a mother pretty young at 22. That, I feel like that did not define me at all as my feminine energy. Did not give me any feminine energy, because I didn't know what was it to work
100%.
I just knew what people told me what to mother to be.
Exactly.
So I was what people told me to be a mother, right?
Exactly. And we do whatever, like, everybody's saying we need to do, blogs and YouTubes and Google.
Exactly. Then with my second child, things went kind of haywire. I experienced a postpartum depression. And that was a whole different monster that I started dealing. That's why I went to yoga. Some of the healing process was yoga. Through yoga, things started moving, and I think part of what inside of me moving, because my yoga love is gonna kick in. The postures in yoga help you release emotions. That's what you see and you think, oh my God, that looks like a pretzel. But in reality, it's moving you energy in a different way, you upward and downward energy. So I feel like doing yoga, things started changing in me. And one of the things that started changing was the feminine energy. I started being more drawn to it, and I still have no idea what this is. I still have no idea. And then, I don't know, the rest is history. Like, it all started happening. Like, I started reading more about what a yin energy was, what the left brain was, and everything started making more sense. I bet if you would have told me 10 years ago, I would have told you crazy. Or even 7 years ago, I would have told you. But the more I read, and then I started experiencing, and then the community, I feel like that community found, like, they started showing up. I wasn't like, hey, let's do it. They started coming. Yes. They been my greatest teachers, because everything that I've learned, like I told you, I'm a very curious and I like to learn. Everything that I learn, I call it, I have a playground. Because I see it when we gather as women. Definitely. I see it, like, I think, like you just mentioned a book, I think, oh, that's what she said. This is what's happening. Oh, this is what's happening. It's so.
You see it in action when you gather women.
I love that. And then I started feeling it. So when I really realized it's hard, it's hard to say what that feminine energy is, because first of all, people like to put a gender to the feminine energy. They want to say women.
That's interesting.
Or men. But in reality, we both carry those energies, because we have a right and a left brain.
100%.
For the longest time, we've been controlled by the male energy, will be the right brain, which tells you to be more productive, to do,
logic.
Goal achieving, logic. But now the world changed. And a lot of people can memorize a multiplication table. But do you know what to do with a multiplication table?
Exactly.
Can you make a multiplication fancy enough and beautiful enough for people to want to enjoy the multiplication, Because the world changed. Yeah. So all those things come from a different part of the brain and spark a different energy, which is more of a beauty and pleasure. And that's, if you would ask me, define the feminine energy, and I would say tap into the beauty and pleasure of life. Just here, talking, drinking a coffee, and just realizing that everything's going to be fine if you stop and say, I'm going to enjoy the moment. And women are creatures of pleasure by nature.
Women? Only women or men? Because that would be like awkward, because I know how men, like, they're more pleasure driven than women. Well, which is
that's also that will be another podcast. That's what they told you. But if you look at the way we are made,
Uh-huh.
we can have more orgasms, correct?
Yes, for sure.
For sure, we develop certain desires earlier than men. Men have just a reaction.
Yes.
We feel the things because our hormones start changing. So we
Yes.
feel other things. We like the touch.
Uh-huh.
We need more touch. We need more words.
Mm-hmm.
We know how to embody the whole pleasure. But we think that, and then I'm gonna tell you the truth. Think about when they try to sell things. They put a beautiful woman. They put a woman's body.
Yeah.
It's the pleasure. We are creatures of pleasure, for beauty, and a man can also be when they are tapping into their feminine energy. But I don't know. I think women have the pleasure,
More pleasure than men.
But we have come to believe that men have it. We have come to believe through shame and through not experiencing our bodies that we are just at mercy, or I don't want to say mercy, but depending on what the man wants or things like that. But no, we are creatures of pleasure. And it doesn't just sexually, but in
a lot of ways. Like, we definitely find more joy and pleasure in way more ways than men.
Mm-hmm.
Like
a bath,
men, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like a little bath, even a little cup of tea, journaling, breathing, walking. Like, men don't actually, like, get into those moments where they're gonna find joy. They find joy in more active, like, activities, kind of like sports.
But even like that, they don't say like, I should have basketball.
Yes.
I feel pleasure.
Yes. No, they don't.
And we a piece of cake. Oh my God, this is so good.
I never saw it that way. And also because women also have more nerves than men. So we feel more because of that too. So I never thought about it that way, but yeah.
So if you ask me, define the feminine energy, I would say it's a pleasure-driven. I lost my train of thought. Pleasure-driven, and when you find the flow of pleasure in everything, that's when you really tap in. When you go to work and say good morning to everybody you don't like, good morning, it's a happy day. That's when you tap in.
I agree. That was my next question. Like, how does a woman who taps into the feminine energy lives life? Because, like, in my case, I feel like I'm both. Like, I can be very girly and feminine, and I love, like, like girly stuff. But I can also be like very, very male driven. Like, I can be like hands on, very bossy, very like stubborn, very like demanding, and I feel like I know when to be a woman and be in my feminine, but I also bring that masculine energy in me a lot.
Let me ask you a question. Do you find pleasure in being a leader?
I love it. I like it, but I feel that I don't, when I make decisions, like, for example, like when I was running my company, I was a boss and I needed to be like on point because I had clients and I had so much pressure under me. I never once, I think I was a leader to those people from the feminine energy. So that's like a question that I would like for you to answer.
Maybe because you categorizing, like you mentioned it right now. I'm girly stuff. It didn't happen immediately, but I come to realize that it has nothing to do with the accessories or how you look.
Yeah.
I ask you, do you feel pleasure and in a flow of life when you are being a leader, when you're telling people this is how things are gonna happen? And this and that.
I guess that has to be with my people pleasing issues that I have, because it's really hard for me to tell someone what to do and tell them straight to their face, like, okay, can you please do this for me and do this and this and this, like that to me is really hard. So I noticed that when I do it, I come from a more like a masculine energy, like I'm the authority here and I'm the one that, that tells you what to do. And I don't like it, but that's why I'm asking you, like, how can a person who wants to connect with the feminine energy can lead a group of people, like let's say that it's mostly men?
Oh, that's a whole different topic. But I'll tell you a story. I worked for my boss, my principal at a school. He completely led from his feminine, because people wanted to do the things. He didn't tell us what to do. We wanted to do it because we liked the community that we were in so much, because we admire him. And one of the things he taught me, and to this day I always repeat it to myself: people first. He will stop what he was doing and he will go, okay, tell me. Okay. And sometimes it's hard for me when I'm doing something and then they come and tell me. No, he was in charge of the whole school, and he will stop everything he was doing and he will stop looking and look at me. So those little details made people wanted to do things for him. He was not bossing around. He was not a sergeant. He was not doing things. I feel bad when I was late. Because
that's a good leader.
Because I wanted to be there, but he led from his feminine. Now that I know, he led from his feminine. He put people first. He will always be very finding joy in little things. He will leave notes like, "Oh, I like it. I noticed you did this."
He's definitely in touch with his feminine energy.
And we both have it, but we think that coming up strong and saying things, not stepping back and saying, "You know what? Let me see how I feel about this situation."
Yes.
Before, no, this is how by the book, and this is how we do it. No, let's step back and see if we can think outside the box. How do you lead from a feminine energy? I guess first you have to find that feminine energy. You have to realize that you're not just I like a book. You're not the list. You're not a what-to-do list, right?
Yes.
Once you realize, even though having a higher position or a authority, that you are not that position and that you're not your to-do list, that's when your feminine energy starts coming in, because you have time to look at are you co-worker and say, how are you doing today, from the heart. And people feel when it's from the heart, and that co-worker would do what you need him to do because he feels taken care of. And we as women, we take care of people. It's our nature. We're the Mother Earth. We nurture. We breastfeed.
Yes.
We can heal by touch. It's we come with a nurturing thing.
I love it. Yes. That makes a lot of sense.
This is a very broad topic, but I'm trying to. It is so you say when you work with men and women in corporation, it's like I have another story with my sister works at when she started working at a accounting firm. I noticed her dress, her closet was all dark colors and very professional. But I know her. I know she loves the animal print and this and that. She's very flowery. And I asked her, how come you don't say, oh no, because I have to look professional. And I said, well, what's going to happen? Are you going to be less professional because you wear an outfit that you like?
Yeah.
Now, years past that, she tells me, I wear what I want because I'm the boss. Because I can do this now. Whether I like this, but if one day I feel like wearing my animal print, I wear my animal print. It doesn't define me.
I love it.
But she was trying to fit into the type of thing. She was hiding who she was.
Yes. And that happens a lot of times.
Don't hide it. I mean, there's obviously a dress code, but if you like to wear color pink, wear a gentle color pink and wear it. Don't try to be like the other ones. You be yourself and tapping. Do not let that little side of creativity on your office.
Oh, 100%. And I noticed that like when women are in those leadership roles, they do feel the pressure of like men. I see it a lot in one of my friends. He's a guy, but his boss is a girl. And the lady seems like she's under a lot of pressure with all these men under her, and she leads from the masculine energy. Like she, and that's one of the questions that I had. It's like, how can you find the feminine energy and then lead from that? It doesn't even have to be in a professional setting, but also like your family. Like you have to lead, because whether we want to admit it or not, like, or men want to admit it or not, like, we lead the house. Like, it's us, like, making all the decisions, and you can tell when a woman is like leading the home. You feel it, you see it. But how can you find that feminine energy and then lead from that, whether it is in a professional setting or at home, friends, etc.?
Well, at home. Another of the things with the feminine energy is it's a moving energy. It's not a straight upward energy. We are tied a lot to water, right? Our hormone cycle. So it changes. It's constantly moving. It's constantly analyzing and feeling what needs to be done. It's not, so when women fall into the trap of control, they're stepping out of their energy, because our energy, the feminine energy, is not controlling. You can't control the ocean. The ocean controls itself according to the environment.
Yeah.
We are the ocean. So when we try to control, we step out. So a lot of the things I've learned that I feel like when I'm not tapping into my energy, and of course you can put, I like to say that I put my outfit and I go to work and I do this, like my personality outfit, right? But then I have my own personal practice that help me maintain that. Like I like to color, I like to do things this part, that. So when it comes to that, to coming back to the house, I've learned that I've been teaching, saying that to my husband, you know what, I am not here to educate my kid. I'm here to love my kid, to be unconditional support for my love, for my kids. Home is the place they want to be, not home the place they want to run from.
I love that.
Home, mother should be the person that is always on their side, and not the one that is going to give him all the traumas. Yes, because my children are being raised to all my actions. And I have flaws. I yelled. I've done a lot of things. But then I always come back and I say, you know what, I'm sorry. Yeah. I did this. And this shouldn't be. I'm not a leader in this house. We are a family. We are a family. How do you feel? This. And I have changed that, trying to lose control on... You know, we want to control what they wear. We want to control how they feel. We want to control what they watch. We want to control everything in our kids' life. And when then that stops into wanting to control everything what your husband does. No, don't wear that. It doesn't match what I'm wearing.
Oh my God, I have this issue with my husband. My husband only has blue shirts. I'm like, what kind of blue shirt are you wearing today? I'm always judging him for that. I'm like, but he loves his blue shirts.
Can you imagine you know what? I love my husband with every single blue shirt that he has. And that's it. Without you feeling like he has another blue shirt, he has another blue shirt on it. Or joke about it. He needs to know that you love him with every blue shirt.
Of course.
And that the other thing is a joke. But sometimes and same thing with my kids. Like I think that leading is losing control, accepting that you're not in control.
I love it. I never saw that way.
It's that losing and being able to flow with that. If we need to change, if you come here, I'm with my daughter. I was very strict about her grades. No 90, no this, like a 90 above, this and that. Now my kids show up with a 70. Oh my God, my daughter would have show up with a 70. I would have like, what's going on? Tutoring. That's it. We need tutoring. You know, we need this. That's it. There's an issue. Let's call the psychiatrist. But now my kids show up with a 70. You know what I did? I pretended I got a heart attack. And he's like, what's happening? Well, no, sorry. I said, I've never seen a 70 in my life. I'm sorry. I made a joke out of it. I said, you know what? What can we do better about this? And he's like, oh, I said, look, and I joked around and I said, look, we are not a 70 family, but I still love him and I accept them. I accept my 70 right now, love it and accept it. Let's try better next time.
I have that rule in my house too, because with my kids, I don't personally have any grades that I expect, but my daughter's very like responsible, let's say, with her grades and everything. But whenever she texts in the group chat, oh, I got a 98 or I got 100, I'm like, I still love you the same. You, whether it's 100 or a 60, I still love you the same, and you are not a grade. And the
Love
other
it,
day she
love
got
it.
a 63. I was like, oh my God, Gigi, what is this? Like a 63? She's like, yeah, it was a quiz, and I was not feeling well. And I said, okay, I still love you the same.
I still love you the
I
same.
still love you
That's
the same,
needed for the
and just
energy.
make
I still
sure,
love you the same.
yeah, just make sure that like you put attention to this subject, and you can bump it up so you don't fail the class, because of course she has to pass, right? But I don't want them to be stressed out about school and
Linear goal driven.
yes.
Linear goal driven. When is that line going to end? What's the top?
Exactly.
But if you teach him that there's so many ways to grow.
Yes.
And I tell the people, well, I had some of them in my community, he's not doing good in this, he struggles with math. Is he good at writing? Yeah. Well, let's focus on writing.
Yes.
Let's focus on he can be a writer, he can be this, but if you constantly telling your child, well, he's not good at it, how is he going to cope with other stuff?
That's exactly.
You build from what you have, not for what you don't have. Not everybody has to be good at math.
Exactly.
Not everybody has to be good at writing. Not everybody has to. So I think learning and analyzing and being more of a seeing the big picture is that feminine energy. Because like I always say, we are the mirror of our energy is Mother Earth. How does Mother Earth see a big picture? Like there's a sunset and there's already happening dawn over here. Everything moves kind of, and in the same time, she controls the big picture of everything. Nothing moves by itself, and that's how
I love it.
Yeah,
I love. And how do you experience your femininity, like feminine energy, like within this community that you're building? How do you? What has been more like a lesson that you said? I am, being in the feminine, or how can I teach these women to be in the feminine energy? Because you have like different people, right? Like you have a lot of people coming in, and they're not always, like in that sense. But then you get the circles, and then you kind of like guide them.
I first thought, do I want to be a coach in my life? I said, I can barely coach myself. I cannot be a coach myself. I don't want to be someone that tells people what to do. I want to do it, and I want to inspire people to do it. I want to do it. If other people learn and see it and they embrace it, good. I want to throw it out there for the curiosity, and maybe it's their time. I don't control their time. There's a divine thing controlling time. When it's their time, they're gonna embrace it. Maybe it's this lifetime, maybe it's in another lifetime, but I'm working on myself, and whatever ripple effect that happens, I take it as a win.
I love it. I love that. I love that. But I noticed that you are always, but let's say this, like you always call your community like diosas. Yeah. Where did that happen? Like, how did that
happen? Oh my God, that happened. Because that word did not stick to me, because God was very tied to a religion to me, because I grew up Catholic. And then it took me a while to embrace that word, goddess. But then one day, it was everything has been slowly happening. And that's why I tell people, don't rush. People love to stay training after training after training, do this, do that, do that. Don't rush. Yeah. What's yours will come to you and will flow through you. You just gotta sit and wait for it to come.
And you are that kind of person, like you truly enjoy yourself.
I just sit there. Oh, look, I got this. Perfect. This is what God wants me to do. So the word came to me just like that. Like I never used it. I had a friend, my friend that she does the singing both. She will always say diosa and everything, but I was never that word. I didn't want it to be a cliche, right? Until it came, and it ended up
like being your slang.
And it came to me because one day I was driving in a summer school, and I heard a podcast about another woman that I admire. She's in Spain. I absolutely adore her. I admire her, and I admire her because she's very real. She talks like you and I are talking. She's not gonna try to sell something or pretend she's spiritual or anything. She's very real. She started talking about, if we see ourselves as a goddess, we will treat ourselves as a goddess. But since we put God or goddess, we put God outside of ourselves, we don't treat ourselves like we should. But imagine if I tell you, you know what? I just saw, if I was like this medium as, I just saw a piece of God coming into you. You will have a lot of responsibility, right? Yeah. You will be like, oh my God, what do I do? Yeah. So if you put yourself as in that divine position, you will treat yourself like a divine. And at the end of the day, whatever, I'm guessing, I don't know about other religions, but when I grew up, what I heard, we were made under the image of a God.
Yes.
Yes, and if I'm their son, and my son has a piece of me, right? Yeah. So I have a piece of, I was made under his image. So I am not a god because I'm not a boy. I'm a goddess. Yeah. Because I come from the lineage of a god.
Oh, 100%.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
And people like to put themselves outside of God, and that's why it's hard for them to make that connection.
And it's really hard to grasp that concept. Because, for example, in my experience, when I was growing up, like I also grew up Catholic, and I consider myself very spiritual in that way, not as Catholic anymore, but more like in a non-religion aspect. But I remember me like wanting to have a God that saved me, that healed me, and that's why I call it source for me, because God for me is all that I can't have, on earth on my own, or I can't receive from just a human being.
Yeah.
We are
limited. We're just human.
We're limited. Exactly. So for me, it was really hard to even think about me as an extension of God. Because I'm like, I want God to be my source. I want God to be like the superpower that when nothing works here, like I still have this over here protecting me and guiding me and taking care of me and all of that. But when you add that extension, like let's say me, like I'm an extension of that God, and I have that power, that puts a lot of pressure on me, and I like to be taken care of. I don't like to take care of myself or others, so it could be really hard, to realize and to accept that you come from a lineage of a God, whether what that was a God or a goddess, you come from that and you're an extension of it. It's
hard. I said it did not happen one day I woke up, I'm a god. No.
Yeah.
It took, and then it made me realize a lot of things. So going back to that, think about when you are not, your kid can go out, grow up, have things, and whenever he needs, he comes back to you, and he feels good when you hug him, but he's still a little part of you going around.
Yeah.
But the source is you, right?
Yeah.
He can come back to you all the time, and you can give him a hug, and you can say, I got you. Whether you physically or not, he will always have you in his heart. That's kind of like how I see what you were saying. There is I don't have the power that he has. I'm just a little extension, I'm like, you are not on the Chromebook. He is the Chromebook. Yes, he is the Chromebook. Yeah. I just have my unique power as an Aran that he gave me. But he is the power. But he gave me something, and he gave me that free will to make good choices.
Yes.
To whatever I think. He gave me the power to say, I'm eating this that is good for me. I'm waking up. I'm doing things that are good for me. Because it's like, I don't know if you heard that I gave you all the tools. God, why didn't you say it? I gave you all the tools and you didn't use them, right?
Yes.
So he has funny ways to work on it. And then after that, I started learning about the goddesses through mythology. And then I was fascinated about all these stories and about these archetypes. And I was like, if women would hear more of these, I wonder if our subconscious, that everything that we have in our subconscious would change. We will realize that there's all these energies and archetypes, but we don't hear as much of that.
No, we don't.
Then I went down the rabbit hole. So I started learning about them, all the symbolism of a woman, the history of a woman. And then I realized we've been very abused through the years. They've been taking a lot of our powers. So I just went and then said, you know what? When coming back to the question what about the community? When I gather with women and when I see women do yoga, when I see women that gather with it, I see a little goddess in every one of them with their special thing, their uniqueness, and I wish they would see it. I wish they would see their uniqueness and they would go out to the world thinking, I have this gift, and I wish for them to go and feel like a goddess, feeling pleasure, not bothered because the dishes were not done. Don't worry, I'll do them later. I'm gonna drink the coffee.
And I think I've been in your circles, and I think you do get out of those circles with that energy, with that mentality, with that high. You know, like you feel like in a high, like, oh my God, I'm a feminine and I love being a woman and I can do everything, and you get out of those circles with that kind of energy.
And I used to believe I had the short end of the stick because being a woman. I would think that I actually didn't want my daughter knows it. She said, like, well, you wanted a boy. Because I said, when I found out I was pregnant, the first thing I said is, I want a boy. Because I thought the women would suffer more. The hard heart, which they do, they have it harder.
Yes.
But not until they really believe that they're worthy and there's no shame on the things they do and say,
100%.
their power will rise.
100%. And one of the things that I also noticed me as a mom, like doing for my daughter, is not shaming her body, or not shaming, or not even like making comments, you know, like if I do, it's positive, but I had a little like conversation with a friend who was telling me, like, I do not allow my daughter to show her belly button. So and it kind of like stood inside of me, like I was wearing, you know, like belly buttons, and I was showing belly buttons when I was younger, but also I remember being ashamed. I remember not like feeling beautiful or feeling like, wow, I'm so beautiful, I can show my belly button and I can be, you know, this person, confident, you know. And then my daughter, for her 15, wanted to show her belly button with a top and then some jeans. And I thought about it and I was like, oh my God, she wants to show her belly button. Oh my God, she's so little. But then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to shame her. I'm not going to even make a comment about her showing her belly button, and I'm not going to sexualize her in any way, and I will not put any pressure or any like stereotypes from the society to her on her. And she was showing her belly button, and I was like, you know what, she's happy and she loves it, and she's confident.
Good for her. Like, you want to build to someone.
Exactly.
How a girl's going to build confidence if you tell them, no, don't wear that. No, that's showing too much. That's showing too much for who?
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Well, why do I have to cover myself? Is there something wrong with my body?
Exactly. And that's another.
Yeah, it starts a whole conversation that, and girls now, they kind of realize that they're like, well, why do I have to? Why do I have to hide myself?
At one point, we were born naked. We didn't have anything. Like, we didn't have clothes.
And I'm not saying go around being naked. I always tell the girls, there's a time and a place.
Yes.
I'm not going to go in an interview wearing this. There's a time and a place. But
of course,
you have to feel good in your skin.
100%.
Whether you have size 8, size 0, you have to feel good in your skin.
And I love that we came to this topic, because for Women's Day, like, I feel like that's a big issue that we have all around. And I was listening to a doctor a couple of days ago. She's a female doctor, and she was talking about how, like, there is no girl code with girls. Like she said, like how you teach, your community that, we have to be embracing ourselves and be supportive with other women and show up for other women and support. And this lady was saying, like, that's BS. Like, that doesn't happen. And the moment a woman see another woman as a threat, that's it. Girl code goes to garbage. Like, it doesn't happen. And I see it. I see it happening. Like, you have to really be in touch with yourself and be in a very good space to see someone, that could be like a threat for you, and not show insecurities or not show any behavior pattern, in interacting with that person.
Because it comes from our deficit. It has nothing to do with the other girl.
Yes.
Whatever you feel about the other girl comes from your deficit.
From your insecurities. Exactly.
So that's personal growth that you have to do. And that's kind of the conversations with podcasts. And when you lead, like I said, you lead by example, then other people might say, maybe I'm curious, maybe I want to be like that. But that is, it comes from the deficit that we have. We've been through a lot through history.
A lot. Yes, yes.
So when I see it happening, I used to bother me like, now I think I bless them. And I say, you know what? We've been through a lot. I hope that future generations do not do this.
And one of the things that that has helped me in my journey, you know, like I was very insecure about myself, and I feel when I see another person and that makes me feel like some kind of way, like a threat or insecure or like jealous, because it happens, it's true, you know. I always think about me, like I bring it back to me and think, where am I lacking right now?
What's my
deficit? And then where do I need to put more love? Where do I need to give myself more love? You know, what part of my body is feeling insecure right now? So, you know, showing that to others, it's a big responsibility, I guess, but also like I feel like we need to talk about these things. It's a reality. Like we have girls, like I know of girls, like let's say in New York. New York is a very, very competitive for women. You know, like they have to have the best bodies, they have to have the best clothes, and they have to have like this status basically. And girls are very, very I don't want to say jealous, but they have that competition within each other. And I experienced that when I was in high school. And I see my friends' kids now experiencing that in high school as well. So I feel like these are the topics that we need to talk about. You know, like we need to not just pretend, oh yeah, no, like it's not happening, or this side, it's not happening. Like it is happening, you know. So how would you advise a mother, let's say, to encourage, you know, the girls basically, like to
the way you talk about yourself? I've seen it a lot. I love that. Sadly enough, I see a lot women that complain about their weight.
Yes.
In front of the kids. They say, I don't like how this looks. Oh no, this doesn't fit. They're constantly shaming themselves in front of the kids. In front of the kids. So what does the girl learns how to do? Or they constantly talking bad about other women. Not they come, but they'll say, oh no, this, or even good. Like I read a message today about a picture, and then she said, this message said, oh, I want that body. Imagine what my 8-year-old sees one process when I say I want somebody else's body.
Oh, 100%. And that happens a lot. That happens a lot. Or when you say like, oh wow, she's so beautiful, but you're nothing like it.
Or when they compliment you and you say, oh no, I'm like, when you say, oh, thank you. Yes. You know, the way you talk to you, the way you react to other women, that's how your kids will learn to react to other women. And I've seen it. I'm very impressed with it, with what I've seen around my personal practice with my daughter and her group of friends. They teach me a lot. I'm like, wow. I wouldn't, like, I grew up here like you. I would never thought I would see girls doing what I'm seeing right now. Yeah. But for sure. I also feel, like I said, when I see things like that, I can't control things, but I can bless them. I can bless them and say, well, I hope that one day I will get to see it, or I hope that one day, I don't want to put a negative connotation. Another day a girl say, well, I don't think we're ever going to see that change. And I said, it's going to take a lot. There's still a lot of discrimination on girls in the world. And yeah, but if I can choose to believe or not to believe, I choose to believe.
100%.
I choose to believe that my daughter will live in a better world, that my grandkid will live in a better world. Because why would I not choosing to believe? Exactly.
Yeah. And the way we see the change now, like you said, like the world is changing. And we're more in touch with our feminine, even men.
Our voice is coming back.
Oh, 100%.
Because that you told me that they're very competitive, that was the environment that we grew up. That's the net that was put on us.
Exactly.
That was the net that they put on us. There was a lot of pressure through church, through religion, to politics, to media. You know, the perfect girl coming out, the models like that. But now you see in Disney movies and TV shows more different role models. Everything is changing because nature has always a way to find balance.
Yes.
Life will balance itself. And for many years, it was off balance, and now it's balancing.
I agree.
So the more, little by little, I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, something for centuries that they did to us. But it'll happen. Eventually, it has to catch up.
I think so. And I love to see more of the people like connecting with earth, connecting, you know, to back to the roots. Like even people that I would never, ever even think about, like seeing them barefoot outside, like they are barefoot outside earthing, and that consciousness and that awareness of us going back to our nature and going back to our roots and getting, you know, connected with earth. I think that's influencing.
Before they told us everything, before they tell us we needed to do this, we need to do that. I am a toxic positivity. No. I do feel that eventually I trust in Mother Earth and the divine, and it will find a balance. Things cannot stay off balance for longer. And then you see the movement little by little. Maybe one day we'll have a girl president. Maybe we have more girls in sports. We have more girls doing great things, more all different ethnicities, different shapes, body shapes.
And then also like women accepting who they are.
Accepting who they are.
I think that's a big part.
I always think of, when I think of things that make me feel insecure, I say, wait a minute. Sofia Vergara, with her accent, she used her insecurity as an asset.
100%.
Lizzo, she was overweight. She said, I'm going to embrace it.
Yes.
And she made, you know, whatever is your insecurity, you can turn it around and use it as an asset and as a way of teaching others.
100%.
On it. So you grab that and you say, okay, I am going to turn it around. Why do I feel this way? I'm just going to turn it around. I told my husband, with my gray hair, I'm no longer working for my leg hair. My gray hair is going to work for me. It's going to make me a wise woman. It's going to give me a badass look.
Yes.
I said, I'm not longer fighting that. I'm not longer fighting my weight. I'm going to feel very sexy in my body, and I'm going to show everybody how sexy I feel.
I love that. I love that. And I think that to me is one of the main reasons why, like, I feel like we need to talk about this and we need to celebrate women. So we can all show this part of us, like you, right? Like, how many women out there are so concerned about their white hair, you know, like the gray hair and the weight and cellulite. Yeah, of course. Like we exist. Like we are, we go out there in society and people judge you, especially other women.
One day, I had an epiphany one day that I was going out to take the trash, and I saw my neighbor, and he got out. He was not wearing a shirt. Oh my God, that was not the best shape ever, okay? But he had the confidence.
Good for him.
Out, and he was like, got out, he was out there, he would go and take everything out. And I said, how many women would they go in a sport bra outside their house without feeling like, oh no, I'm showing my belly, my arms, this. Yes. They would judge themselves 5 things before actually going outside.
And honestly, let me tell you something that happens to me. Like I have a big like a front yard, and I love to take care of it and stuff like that. But every time I get out, like I don't know why this is in my brain, but every time I get out, I make sure I'm clothed. Like I'm very covered. I'm like, I don't want no neighbor looking at me. I don't want no neighbor like seeing me from any angle. Like I get like this big size t-shirts and big sweatpants, and I'm like with a hat if I can. So I don't show anything. And that's but I also think it's more like my patterns, like what I grew up seeing and hearing. You know, you can show because men. And every time I get out of the house and I'm in the garden, in the front yard, I think that way. And I think like, I don't want to show any men.
If you're comfortable because you love it, or you're doing it because you are hiding.
Yes.
Which one is that thin line?
For sure, I'm hiding. And that's for sure. Like I'm definitely hiding. Like and it's in me. It's like, I don't want any men to see me. I don't want any men to see, like, it within my circle, because I'm out there. I'm like, I don't care anybody wants to see me or whatever. Like, I'm beautiful. Hello, not just kidding. But in my neighbor, I don't want anything, to go wrong. Like, I want the men in their houses to look away, to not see me, and I have that in my head. I don't know how first time, like, I'm talking about this. I never talk about it. Like, this came out, and I'm realizing it right now that I do have that mentality. Like, I get out of the house and I think, I don't want my neighbors to look at me in any way, in any sexual way. So let me just clothe myself and get, like, as ugly as I can to get out.
So, I mean, I'm telling you, the confidence is cold, blah, blah. Think about the emotion that is tied to that. So if you do that every time you cover yourself, you're covering yourself with shame. Because you think that if you go out and freely with your body, so you cover yourself. But maybe you're doing it because you're comfortable, you do this. Or, okay, how does it feel when you go outside and let's say one day you're just going to use spaghetti strap and your little shorts and you're working? Is that thing going to be bothering? Oh my God, I'm in there. Or you're going to enjoy your gardening because that's what you love. So a lot of women stop what they love because of how they feel, or how they look, through the shame of how they look.
Exactly.
Like, I know, and you don't know, I heard this story many times. I used to when I was a girl, and my question, I always tell them, "Why don't you do it anymore?"
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a mom now. How did that change? You used to ice skate. How did that change? Oh, I gained weight. How did that change? You can still dance with weight. How did that change?
Yes.
Because some sort of shame was attached to it, they stopped doing it.
Or because also society teaches that, like, now that you're a mom, you cannot wear a two-piece bikini, because you don't have a perfect body, or now that you're a mom, you need to cover because you have kids,
My daughter was with her boyfriend, and my daughter said, he said, your daughter's calling me fat. And I said, oh my God, Iselita, what's wrong with being fat? There's more of him to hug. And she's like, that's more me too. I said, yeah. And then I told them, I just have a question. Who said that being super skinny was a beauty? Who said? I want to know where in the Bible it said, where was this written?
No, exactly.
Is it in a medicine book? Where is it? No, having a body is beautiful. Being able to move freely is beautiful. Giving you massages, enjoying yourself is beautiful. And that's why you have a body, not to fit into a size.
I love it. And I think that women, we tend to do that. Like, we tend to always...
It's like limiting yourself.
Limiting ourselves, yeah. Like, I was telling, I don't even know who I was talking to. One of my friends was saying, like, how she's overweight. And I said, look, the people that love you, because we know each other, like, her and I know each other for years, like maybe more than 20 years now. And I said, look at your surrounding. Like, the friends that you had when you were skinny are still here. And that means we don't love you because of how you look. We love you for the connection that we have and the love that we share in the experiences and a spiritual connection, more like a physical connection. And she has a husband and she has, a family, and she thinks in her head that she's fat, but at the same time, it's like, what does it matter? Like, even if you're, like, let's say a little overweight or super, super skinny, what does it matter? The people that love you, that know who you are not gonna see through that. Are not gonna pay attention to your physical appearance. They're gonna love the experience that they get when they're with you. And, like, I noticed, like the other day, I was paying attention to that too, because this little boy was hugging this lady, and she was, like, very overweight, and she it was actually on the news, and she was like, how she was struggling with the weight, and the boy was holding her and hugging her, and she had to rely on the little boy for a lot of things because she couldn't move a lot. But then when I saw that, I'm like, that's love, because that kid is loving the mom even when she is not at her best and she can't even move. The husband is also there that means that the connection that we create with people are beyond our physical appearance. And we women think otherwise, you know, like men too, but like we show it more.
Yeah, I had a friend, a female friend that came to me and said, I'm upset. And I'm like, why are you upset? This person said this to me, referring to my weight, that what was I? And I said, oh, I didn't like that. What do I do? I didn't like that. What do I do? And I'm like, oh my God. I said, well, how do you feel? I said, I didn't like that she came and told something about my body. And le dije, welcome to Women's Life. Oh my God, that's how women feel. I said, that's exactly what we feel. People always referring to our body. They would tell you, oh, you look skinny. I had a friend that, like, when you told me about the community, when they're my biggest teachers every time. It's like going to school
I bet.
I had a friend that she came and said, oh, she looks so good, she's so skinny, and I'm thinking that this friend already told me that she's sick, that's why she's losing weight. And she's thinking she looks good, and I'm thinking my friend feels like shit.
Yeah.
She's sick.
She's sick. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
You see, she doesn't know that end when we, like you say, when we refer to somebody's body. We don't know when they were going on. Or
exactly.
Maybe they have we say, oh, our bodies are history of our life. When we see someone obese, we don't know what traumas they have. We don't know what was available to them.
Exactly.
And you mentioned a key point right now when she said the girl was struggling moving. The body is meant to move. So I always thought, if you can move, if you move freely without restriction, and if you feel your body, and you're healthy, it doesn't matter about a size.
I love it.
The body is designed to move. As long as you move in different ways, you're in the right path. It doesn't matter if you're in a size 0. Or you can be a size 6, 17, and you see when someone dances how beautiful it looks, you forget to see their weight.
Yes, I never been on that side of me feeling like overweight, like oh my God, I'm super fat. Thank God I haven't. But I've been on the other side of oh my God, I'm so skinny. I don't like myself because I'm too skinny, you know. So I can't even imagine how does it feel, you know, to feel that way, to feel like I can't lose the weight, I'm overweight, and I don't like myself and all that. But I can also relate from the end of I'm not liking myself. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not, you know, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve. Or when like, sorry to interrupt, but then also like when a person comes to our lives and treat us good is too good to be true. Like this is not what I want. This is not what I deserve.
And that's why you mentioned you wanted this to be like for Women's Day. If that was one thing I would encourage women to do, is learn about your history as a society. What they done to you. Learn, question things. Okay, who really said that we needed to be skinny? Where did it came from?
Yes.
Where did it came that we needed to do our nails? Where did the ring? What history? Why do we wear a ring?
Yes.
Question things so you understand things.
100%.
Question things.
I love that.
So so if you think like, okay, where this happened, maybe this is wrong. Maybe this is something I don't want to say like society.
Yes.
A group of things created to control us, to shift things, right? So I would say just to empower women to question things.
I love that.
Where does it come from? Where do this come from?
Why am I thinking that? Why are we acting this way? Exactly.
Is it our nature to be against each other?
Exactly.
Wait a minute, but no. If you go back in time, women will gather.
Yes.
And will support each other.
Yes.
So when did that happen? What happened? And when you learn the history of women, and I tell you, just really think about it. We have been marginalized for the longest time.
100%.
Job, education.
Yes.
So it's no joke that we have all these deficiencies.
Yes.
So come from a place of acceptance. This happened to us. How can we fix it?
I love it. What are some practices that you can recommend, you know, people that
Of course,
they can...
yoga.
Yeah, for sure. Yoga to me, oh my God, is holy. Like it's sacred. Like,
and I love yoga, and I always tell people, do movement. You don't have to do yoga, just movement. If you want to do a very good movement, do yoga.
Yeah.
But the movement.
Yoga. Love it.
But
Love
no, but finish your thing. I was just going to throw my yoga thing. But you were saying
no,
good
like,
practices.
good practices that women can, to me, like, journaling helps me a lot. Like, you know, that to me is like my number one source of like, you know, like connection and all that stuff. But then also yoga. Like when I do yoga, I want to connect with my spirit, with that. Like the feeling of finishing a yoga class, it's like, like an orgasm in another way, you know. But what are some practices that women can, you know, start doing or can, you know, do little by little, like something small or simple or complex that they can, you know, they can start doing to embrace their feminine energy?
Nature. I would say that the simple, easy, free, available, no retreat, no nothing. Let's go just sit outside of a tree and just sit. Let's see what happens. I'll invite everybody to just sit outside on a tree and see how your mood changes or what emotions rise. Because you're going to start having emotions. Yes. You're not going to like them, but just sit with them and notice how nature works in wonderful ways.
I love it.
Notice how the tree falls. One of the girls said, I always remember a story you said that when it's fall, the trees don't hang on to their leaves. They'll say, no, I want to keep it.
No.
I really like this one. I'm going to keep it. No, they just let it fall off and they just stay tall. And they just notice connecting with the feminine energy is connected with Mother Earth. I'm not saying go in mud. I'm just saying just sit and notice the sky.
Or go in mud if you want to.
Mud, but we say start little, just said go. Instead of, we spend so much here in the United States, we spend so much time indoors.
Oh, yeah.
Go outside. You don't like to know how to garden. Just go outside and look at the plants around you. What shapes do they bring you? What emotions, what colors do you see? Have you noticed how the sky is different every day? I bet there are women that go through the whole month without looking at the moon.
Oh, 100%.
Go, just notice nature, and nature will talk to you, and it will spark that feminine, it will spark that energy that you will start questioning more things, how life really works, and you want to tap to that flow of life. And nature does not control. Nature has a lot of power. Nature knows exactly when to do things without people putting a to-do list.
I love it.
It doesn't have goals. Nature doesn't have goals, but it always gets things done. Right? So,
like the cycles.
Notice that. Oh, notice when I started doing the noticing every time there's a season change, like spring, like this. I will also tell them find movement, dancing, biking, walking, running, yoga.
Yes.
Movement.
I love that.
And pick something that you think about it. What did I used to really like as a girl? Because you said we have to mother our girls, especially we didn't have a mother. Like I didn't have a mother, I became my mother. Mm-hmm. So we have to. What is one thing I really liked as a girl? I like coloring, and I bought myself a coloring book. And it's horrible, like it's out of the line. It's nothing fancy, but I like it.
Of course, because you enjoy it. And even if you had mothers, like I remember talking to a friend the other day and also telling her about me. Like I mother myself because I'm my own babysitter now. Like I had a babysitter when I was little, but now I don't have any babysitters. And when even if you had a mother, like your mother is not gonna be there after you become an adult. Once you become an adult, you have to be your own parent, you know. And even if you didn't, you know, if you did have a good mom or you didn't, you still have to mother your body, your inner self, and your
once you
child.
hit the mother stage, we live by stages. We're the child, we're the teen, we're the woman.
100%.
You are the woman now. You're not the daughter. You are the woman.
Exactly.
And now it's your responsibility. If you're still depending on your mother emotionally, or if you're still depending for your mother to give you that pill, you should be ate up and give it. Oh no, I need to drink my pill today because I'm sick.
100%.
Or I need to make myself some tea. Or I need to cut on carbs. You don't longer have your mother telling you, don't eat this, eat your vegetables.
Exactly.
You need to become that person.
Yes, you need to become that person.
But
100%.
at the same time, it's so hard because our mothers did not let us find it out by ourselves.
Yeah.
Did not tell us, this is good, this is this, this is that. Which one do you want to pick?
Yeah.
They just ate this to you, so they never taught you how to really make decisions.
Yes.
And so when I came back to the way you mother from the feminine, give options, change, teach them how to make decisions.
Love it.
Oh, love it.
Oh, yeah.
Teach
I like
them,
that.
because then when you're an adult, how come you can't take care of yourself? Because your mother always did everything until the last second. She made you put doctor's appointment. She bought this for you. She did that, everything for you. And now you're an adult and you're like, how do I do now?
Yeah. How do I do this?
How do I do things? I was never taught of how to do things. And
100%.
One day my daughter wrote me something. She said, I know. You teach me something. You teach me resilience and how to do things. Yes. I know I can do it myself.
I love it.
I said, I know you can do it yourself. Yes. I always knew. I'm not saying I'm not going to help you, but give it a try first.
100%. I love that. I love that. And that's also like releasing the control, like you said in the beginning.
And that's what you practice is, if you want to release control in one thing that stress you out, like, oh, it's stressing me out that he's getting this, my car or my husband, just let it go. Just, you know what, I offer it to this tree. You're in charge of that. I'm going to go and do something else and see what happens. One thing, one little thing.
I love it.
Nature, movement, and find a way to connect with that inner girl, to rewire her. So if that's coming back to something you like to do, even the old shows, the cartoons, we used to watch cartoons.
I love the Flintstones.
What is it going to happen in one day? You just put the Flintstones and you watch it in YouTube, you can find it. Yeah. But then you think, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, and I'm watching Flintstones. You know what? Your girl wants to watch the Flintstones.
I love it.
I love the Flintstones.
Me too.
I always make a reference of that because I'm so tall when I get into the car. You know how they used to drive like that? I look like the Dino in the Flintstones.
That's funny. What are some books that you, because I know you're a reader, what are some books that you would recommend, people that want to get into, or girls that want to get into, discovering, exploring what it is to be in the feminine energy and what it is to be a woman, what it is to lead or be from the feminine energy, and not feel ashamed and not feel like, oh, I need to be this badass and I need to look this way and I need to do this certain thing this way.
Well, I always recommend this book to everybody. Every woman working or not working with the feminine energy, every woman you are a goddess at every age.
Oh.
Let me say she's a famous doctor, and I love it. You need to read it.
I'm gonna have to look for it. You're a goddess at every age.
At every age,
sure.
Goddess at every age. Book.
I love the title.
So it's a
look, you have a girl.
Okay, here. We have the goddess. Oh, goddesses never age.
Oh, goddesses never age. I love it. I'm gonna look into it.
That is one of the books I would recommend to every woman.
Okay.
Goddesses never age.
Thank you so much, Martha, for all this time, for sharing the knowledge that you have. You have a lot of knowledge, and I love when you share it. I love when you come into your place and you do all these things, and you are doing so good and such a good change for the future, for the girls, for everyone in this community. I truly appreciate it, and I'm really proud of you, and I can't wait to see everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.